You're listening to Season 2 of the So Cultured podcast,
where we delve into the science and tech behind everyday topics,
served with a side of piping hot laboraTEA.
We're your hosts, Liv,
Yaz,
and Taz,
3 girls with a passion for science and tech.
Before we get into today's episode, remember that all opinions are our own and all our listener stories are alleged.
We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and let's get into it.
Just watch me breaking.
Oh, I'm so hungover.
Taz, you're always hungover.
You're always hungover. This is actually problematic.
The time difference is just doing me so dirty.
Yeah, for our listeners, when you're listening, me and Yaz are it's normally our mornings and Taz's evenings. So she's always hungover and me and Yaz have just woke up. Normally.
You mean the other way around? It's my morning and your evening.
Normally. Right now Taz is hungover and it's her morning.
Very early.
Well, me and Yaz are still tired. Guys, I have to tell you guys about a story, something that happened to me today.
What did you do today?
Oh.
Well, this is me raising awareness for girls going to get their smear test and also telling you about my smear test today. So I went for my smear test today and it was my second smear test. And the first one, it was all good. She made me feel very comfortable, pulled the curtain around and she was like, you can get undressed behind the curtain and then you can put the little towel thing over you. Felt very comfortable. Okay. It was all good. Then I went today and first of all, the bed is facing the door and I'm pretty sure she didn't lock the door and I was like, oh my God, what if someone opens the door? They're literally going to get full view of me. But anyway, she just goes, right, get undressed now. And it was just like an open room. So I'm literally just stood there undressing.
They didn't put a curtain around you?
No. And I was like, okay. I was like, right, I'm just going to go for this. I get full body laser. So at this point, I'm pretty comfortable just getting undressed,
Stripping off, yeah.
Yeah. And so I lay on the bed and it was just really awkward. They have that small talk where they're like, what do you do for work? And all of that. And have you guys got a smear test before? I hope so, because we're all over 25. Yeah. So, they put the little, what even is it? Like a little clamp. It's not even like a clamp thing, but the little thing that goes in you and then they...
I can't remember what it's called. I want to call it like a spec something.
Speculum.
Yeah, that's it. So she's like hovering over me and I kid you not, as she puts it in me, she like gave me full on eye contact. So she's looking me dead in the eyes and then just shoves it in me. And I was like, this is horrific. And I was actually at a loss for words.
I would have laughed.
No, I was shocked. Well, I was like, why
did you close your eyes?
I was just shocked. I was like, why did you just look me dead in the eyes as you did that? Like, it was just pretty horrific. Not gonna lie.
But at least you got it done.
Oh.
Yeah, that is true. Because last time I did...
At least it is so quick. It's like in, out, done. Like, I was actually
do you guys think it's painful?
It was.
I didn't
afterwards,
think it was that
painful.
Oh my God, it is painful afterwards, isn't it? I said that to my boyfriend. He was like, how you feeling? I was like, it's actually painful. Like, sorry if this is a bit TMI, but you can actually feel it afterwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like a deep, like almost ache to the point that it hurts.
Yeah, it's really weird. So yeah, that's what I did today.
You've reminded me actually because I need to go and get my second one because I think aren't they every... Well, it depends on your results, but if it like comes back as like nothing, I think they're every 3 years. So I'm
because I just had my second like a month ago.
I tested positive for HPV last time, which is why I had to go back. But it wasn't cancerous. But the nurse literally said to me, everybody gets HPV at some point in their life. So
it's just to like check that it's either gone or like it's not progressed into anything else, isn't it? You'll probably get the results back and it will say negative this time.
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe. It's a good idea.
Then also I actually had another not traumatic but worrying thing happen to me, which was that I had a good day after that, went some furniture shopping and then I went out for dinner with my friend, right? And I parked in this car park and I go to dinner and I sat down at dinner and then I had that realisation of like, oh my God, did I put my handbrake on? And then my friend is talking to me, but the whole dinner I can't stop thinking of like, did I put the handbrake on? And I actually couldn't focus on what she was saying. And I said to her, Ellie, I don't think I put my handbrake on. She was like, no, you're good. She was in the car with me. She was like, you're fine. It would have rolled when we got out. And I just couldn't stop
normally,
thinking about
when
it.
you think like that, like you probably have done it just naturally. Do you know what I mean? Like you would have done it and then just known, like, and then it's just playing on your mind. Like, so I think you're probably fine, right?
Yeah, it's like leaving your hair straighteners on. I naturally turn my hair straighteners off.
Yeah.
Like, don't even think about it. And then it's when you like double think about it and you're like,
Did I?
"Hey, did I turn them off?"
I do that.
I hate that.
Well, I did go back to my car and I hadn't put the handbrake on.
Oh my
That's actually
gosh.
such a Liv thing though. Like that actually makes me feel like that's a Liv thing.
But it's actually okay because by some miracle the car did not roll, and I'm so glad that it didn't roll because I was actually parked like dead in line with the hill to get into the car park, which is very steep, and right next to it is a brick wall. So like if it had rolled, it would have rolled over the hill into the brick wall, and also it would have blocked the entrance to the car park. So I was having pictures of me walking back to my car. I've destroyed my new Audi and I've blocked off the car park, so there would be like loads of cars waiting for me to come back, and then I'd get back and they'd all be like, "You're an actual idiot." But it didn't roll, so yeah, imagine that. Like I had to get a new car like a few months after getting this one. That would be embarrassing.
Well, you literally now know to double check. You should have run out of the restaurant just to be like, let me double check. But normally,
I'm not gonna lie, if
fine.
that was me, I think I would have just gone.
Well, I thought if it's gonna roll, it's rolled already, so I might as well enjoy my sushi and then deal with it after. You know. So
to be fair, I really like your car though, Liv.
Thanks. I do love my car. What car would you guys get? What's like your dream car?
To be fair, I don't know. I do go around like looking past cars and I'm like, I want a big car because I've only ever had small cars. Because before my Fiat 500, it was a Ford KA. So like, I literally want like the biggest car that I can get, but I don't know if I could park it. But my mum was saying the other day that she's looking at getting a Tesla because they've got deals. And I quite like the idea of having like that vibe, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm like on the electric car vibe or like the self-driving thing kind of scares me.
Yeah, I agree. I do kind of like the Teslas. I was looking at pink ones the other day, which, you know, stay with me because if you Google like pink chrome Teslas, they are nice. Like I actually like them. Have you seen the Tesla Cybertrucks?
No, I'm not very like.
Oh my god, the Tesla Cybertrucks are insane.
Weren't they like one of the first Tesla cars to come out?
I have seen this.
Because they're supposed to be like indestructible.
That is the ugliest thing that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Yeah,
but I feel like all of the like really big, rich influencers have them because there's so much money. But they're literally indestructible. They're supposed to be bulletproof.
Yeah, I just feel like Elon Musk just makes the randomest things. Like the CEO of Twitter, like that to me was just so, or X, should I say, that to me was just so random.
Yeah, Elon Musk is just always doing crazy things. And speaking of things that Elon Musk has made, I'm going to tell you about another one of Elon Musk's crazy inventions. So you probably know Elon Musk for his famous companies such as Tesla and SpaceX. But Musk also has a handful of more low-key business ventures, one of which you may have heard about recently in the news, and that is Neuralink. So he said he started Neuralink in order to achieve symbiosis between AI and the human brain. So Neuralink is a neural interface technology company. So basically what they're doing is making a device that can be put inside someone's brain, where it will be responsible for recording brain activity and potentially stimulating brain activity. And you know what? When I was doing research for the science for this episode, I was actually watching an interview with Elon Musk in the gym. I was having my little walk and I was watching this interview, and the interviewer asked him, "Can you explain what Neuralink is and what the goal of it is?" And he actually, word for word, said, "We put a chip inside your brain to control your mind." Now, before we delve into what the hell this is being used for and how it works, let's rewind to the very beginning.
Can I just say, just off the back of this, there is no way I would ever let Elon Musk put anything inside my brain. There's no way.
Hold off on that, Taz, because by the end of this episode, you might agree.
No, I actually had never heard of this before. I think you guys can tell I live under a rock because I don't know anything that's going on in the world. So yeah, literally you were like, oh, you've probably heard this because it's in the news. Like, I think must have deleted the news app or something, because like what even is it, and like, how did it actually come about? Because I'm just confused.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to start from the beginning and tell you all about the history of neural chips, because they sound very scary and like something new that's just popped up, but they've actually been around for a long time. So throughout history, humans have known about the electrical properties of living organisms, and the electric eel is a great example. Have you guys ever heard of the electric eel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just me that didn't know about them. I'd never heard of them, so I thought it was really cool.
Have you not?
No, I'm not really good with like wildlife stuff though. Okay, but any of the listeners who are also as dumb as me, no, you're not dumb. I'm not dumb. Anyway, for anyone who didn't know, an electric eel is a fish capable of generating a shock with its electric organ. So like basically this eel can literally give you an electric shock, which I thought was crazy. And I read that it can produce a shock of up to 600 volts at a current of 1 amp. But it was an Italian physician, a physics. Who do we call physics? Physicist. Physicist. He was named.
Well, it could be a physician.
Physician? Yeah, I think so.
A physician's like a doctor, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a physician.
Oh.
So it could be.
Because you were talking about electric volts, I was like, oh, obviously it's physics.
That's why I was a bit confused. Anyway, there was this very cool guy. He was named Luigi Galvani, and he was the first person to suggest that all living beings possess an inherent electrical nature. Because one day he was dissecting a frog with a metal scalpel, and the frog's leg basically just twitched spontaneously. So he deduced that the scalpel had accumulated static electricity, which upon contact activated the frog's nervous system through an internal electrical process. And it was this that laid the foundation for our understanding of the human nervous system, which we now know includes the brain, spinal cord, and a complex network of nerves. So following this, the scientists figured that if the brain operated via electricity, then it should be possible to manipulate the movements of a living thing with electrical brain stimulation. So two scientists in 1870, they actually did this with a dog. So because they managed to do it with a dog, people then thought, well, maybe we could do the same with humans. And this is the part of the story where we meet a young lady named Mary Rafferty. So Mary was an Irish immigrant in her early 30s who suffered from a strange problem. So as a young girl, she had fallen into fire and severely burned her scalp. And to cover the scarred bald patch that she ended up with, she wore a variety of wigs. And wigs, I believe, used to have something called a whalebone in them, which is basically just like a hard... I don't know if it was actually a whalebone, but it was basically just like a hard thing. Does anyone know what a whalebone is?
It's like whalebone corsets, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really know. What is it?
I think it is whalebone. Like originally it was
actually
whalebone. To like, yeah, like they used to use it in corsets to like as a structure of it, and then obviously they would tie it at the back, but they were like rock hard.
Oh, okay. So these used to be in wigs apparently as well. So she's wearing a lot of these wigs, and then a sore appears on her head, which she believed was obviously caused by her wigs, and it got worse and worse, and it eventually became cancerous. And the cancer ate away at Mary's skull to the extent that a hole actually exposed a portion of her brain.
Stop it, that mate. Oh no, that's actually giving me like some weird sensation.
I know.
So was it just an open wound though? Like it was just exposed, and that was...
Yeah. And he stuck some electrodes on it, applied an electric current, and parts of her body were like moving. So because this was successful, he jacked up the current, and this time Mary broke out into tears. She started to cry. She then lost consciousness and went into a coma. Don't worry, Mary did awake from the coma, but unfortunately she died a few days later. Jeez. And it's not clear to what extent the electrical stimulation did or did not contribute to her death. So basically they're not saying that caused her death, but I think we can conclude that is probably what caused her death.
Yeah, I mean, that's horrible. Like, I also think like it must have been like around the 1870s or the early 1900s, because like that is so unethical. Like
Yeah, exactly. So Bartholomew's experiments were definitely a real low point in medical and scientific ethics, but they did show us something crucial, that electrical jolts could control human brains just like they did with the frogs and the dogs. So basically his work actually set the stage for creating neural implants, which is what Neuralink are doing. And this is where we meet the last character in this short story of the history of neural implants. Someone called Jose Delgado. I think I've pronounced his name correctly. So he's probably the most controversial figure, but he quite literally created mind control. So we're all scared about Elon Musk, but this has been done before. And he did so many cool studies. I don't know if I can call them cool because I think some of them were definitely unethical, like we just said. But I'm just going to tell you one of them, which is probably his like most famous one. Okay, so imagine this. It's a scorching hot day in Spain. A huge audience gather at one of these crazy ball shows, you know, where they're like waving the flags and the walls like chasing people and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, on this particular day, everything seemed normal. A man jumps into the ring. He's teasing the angry ball with a red cape. And as expected, the ball starts to charge towards him. He's ready to attack. But that's when something incredible unfolded. So with the press of a button of a device in his hand, the man seemed to cast a spell. The ball lost interest, stopped charging, and wandered off. And all the crowd were like, what is going on? But the ball had actually been fitted with a brain implant, specifically an electrode array implanted in its caudate nucleus. So when activated, the implant basically caused the ball to instantly abandon its aggressive behavior. So Delgado's demonstration was a pivotal moment in the controversial journey of melding the human mind with machines through brain implants, which is very scary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. And I really love that like backstory behind it, because I had no idea about. I'm sure if we get any neuroscientists listening, then they obviously know about that stuff, but I'd never heard of it before.
So we literally went from having them in bulls and dogs, and then like what actually happens? Like, do they exist now? Are people using them? And obviously we're talking about Neuralink. So how does that start? Like, has that stemmed from all of this other stuff, and like what's kind of going on with it now?
Well, yeah, so Elon Musk founded Neuralink in 2016. So considering that bull study that we just spoke about was from like 1970, you could say that Neuralink are kind of fairly late to the game. But having said that, nobody really even knew about Neuralink until 2017 to 2019. So basically, they didn't really like announce like, hey, we're starting this company. And it wasn't until 2017 that anyone knew about it, because I think randomly, like the Wall Street Journal were just like, oh, by the way, Elon Musk has got this company. And then they were fairly quiet until 2019, when Elon Musk and the Neuralink executive team basically jumped on a live stream and just started like showing off their stuff. So let me tell you about what Neuralink are actually developing. So they're developing a few bits of equipment. So the first is a chip that would be implanted into a person's skull with electrodes fanning out into their brain. So we'll touch more on that in a second. Then the second product is a robot that could automatically implant the chip. And then lastly, they're actually also developing an app that would allow a person to manipulate a keyboard and a mouse using only their mind.
With an app? Like what?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, and let's be honest, it is crazy.
Yeah.
But the initial goal of Neuralink isn't as scary. Like their initial goal was like, okay, fair enough. So the initial goal was to basically give people with paralysis more independence in their day-to-day lives. So basically they would be able to like control their computers and mobile devices with their minds to send emails, browse the internet, and express creativity. So basically the idea is like they could literally like send a tweet literally using their mind, or they could send an email using their mind. Next, Neuralink basically wanted to enable amputees to control prosthetic limbs with sensory feedback. And when placed at key motor neuron clusters, the idea was that the technology will be able to enable paraplegics to eventually actually walk with their own two legs, or like with prosthetic legs. And other therapeutic targets include healing things like deafness, blindness, addiction, and a range of neurological diseases as well. So basically everyone said like that's the right approach, is to basically like fix what's broken before you start adding like bonus features. So like basically use it for good, for like medical purposes, right? Rather than like giving someone the ability to watch a film in their head, which by the way is like one of the things they're now saying they want to do.
Watch a film in their head, because like
Yeah.
I don't think I have those like visual aids, so like it wouldn't work for me.
Yeah,
But
we learned that in episode 1. But it's these bonus features that have some neuroscientists, or just people in general, to be honest, a bit skeptical, because Musk says that Neuralink one day will offer endless upgrades. So things like cognitive enhancement to mind-controlled virtual realities. So hypothetically, users will be able to scroll through a Neuralink app store and choose what to install in their brain.
this is given. Have you seen that Amazon? Well, Liv probably hasn't. Taz and listeners, have you watched that Amazon program called Upload? And it's like when you die, you can upload your brain to like a virtual world. But then if you've got loads of money, you can get like the finest food. But it's like virtual reality, but like you're dead. So it's just like your soul or your brain's like in a like what would it be in like just a virtual world?
Virtual world, yeah, like meta.
Yeah, but then there's some people that can't afford it, and so they live in like a jail basically, or it's not a jail, they just like run out of credit, so then their day stops early, or they can't eat because they're like run out. It just like it's kind of funny.
What film is this, or what series?
It's a series called Upload. It's on Amazon Prime. I think it's.
Oh my god, I need to watch this. I actually want to watch that.
So
Black Mirror
so
actually
good.
did an episode on like really similar, and it was like when people would die, they would opt to be in like a virtual world rather than die.
Yeah, I think it did
So
come from
quite
like a Black
similar.
Mirror thing.
But this is the thing though, how I feel around Elon Musk is that he's literally seen like every sci-fi film, like every like dystopian film, and he's like, yeah, that's me, I want to do that, that's what we're gonna do.
Well, actually, the thing is that he just has unlimited money, because it's not like it's him doing any of this research. And like we spoke about, like all of this research and all of the technology behind Neuralink is like something that academics have been doing for years.
True.
Like there's so many other companies that are doing what he's doing. It's just because he has so much money to like feed into these things that he's probably able to excel these products a lot faster than the other companies are doing.
But the problem with this is that he's doing it in like a consumer way, where you said like if there's an app and you could do the upgrades, that like you're going to fall behind if you don't pay the money to keep up to date for the new features, and then you're just constantly like chasing this new.
Yeah, exactly. But all of these kind of like bonus features that we're talking about, these require like a two-way interface where the electrodes both transmit and also receive signals to and from the brain. And like I just said, the principle is already proven in traditional brain implants, but obviously much more research is needed to execute it in the way that he wants to. But let's come back to this. First, let's take a deep dive into the biology and the tech behind this chip.
Yeah, because it actually sounds insane of like in terms of if you had prosthetic legs, for example, how could your brain do it? Because like when you walk, you don't actually have to think like, right, move my right leg, move my left leg. Like it's just like an innate process, or voluntary. No, involuntary. Involuntary response. So like how would that work?
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you, because it literally is, think about it, and the link learns how to do it. It's pretty crazy. Okay, I just mentioned the link, but yeah, the implant itself, so the actual neural like chip that goes in your brain, is called the link. And we will pop a picture of this on episode figures for episode 4 on our Instagram highlights, so you guys can go and have a look at what it actually looks like. As you guys can see, it's a coin-sized brain chip, so like it's not small, like it's pretty big, I think. And it's surgically embedded under the skull, where it receives information from neural threads that fan out into different sections of a subject's brain in control of motor skills. So each wire contains sensors capable of recording and emitting electrical currents that are so fine and flexible they actually can't be inserted by the human hand. And that's why Neuralink has built a neural surgical robot that's designed to become fully automated. Now, to understand how this works, let's recap some neurobiology. So, brain cells, called neurons, are essentially tiny electrical devices. So, they communicate across networks using chemical signals, which are neurotransmitters. We spoke about these on episode 1, which was about dreams. And these basically excite or inhibit electrical signals, also known as action potentials. And this chatter between neurons fires across networks, giving rise to brain functions like visual processing, memory retrieval, and language. So Neuralink, or the link, works by basically placing neural threads alongside neurons. And these threads can then detect and will ultimately transmit tiny electrical signals to neurons to kind of like join in on that conversation. And these neural signals are decoded by 4 microchips in the body of the link, which sits just outside the brain and flushed with the skull. So I don't know if I said this, but it's not actually like in your brain. It's actually just like in between your brain and your skull, I think. And then basically this data is sent wirelessly to a computer up to 10 meters away, which basically creates a direct link between the mind and the machine.
Yeah, like it's so clever when you think about it, but it actually like creeps me out thinking that there's going to be like there's wires going into your brain because I don't know, it just creeps me out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But on that, don't we actually need to know what each neuron actually does before we start like executing or measuring the impulses of it? Like, how do you determine what neuron is needed for picking up a pen or moving your leg or like moving a mouse to move a cursor? Like, how do you
Yeah,
know that?
exactly. That is so true, because I was thinking about that, because I was like, I get the whole concept behind like electricity and like making things move, but like how do you get to the point where you're making like a tweet from your brain? So basically what you have to do is, like, to make this work, is identify correlations between brain activity and experience. So we kind of spoke about this like on episode 1, when we was talking about neuroimaging and how they like know what different areas of your brain correspond to like different types of dreams and stuff. So like, in other words, what does your brain do, or what does the neural activity actually look like while you're moving your mouse with that cursor? So basically, like, they'd get them to like move the mouse with the cursor and then look at their brain activity. Does that make sense?
So that doesn't make sense though, because if you are paralyzed, you can't physically carry out that function yourself to create that experience.
Yeah, we'll get to this in a sec, but basically they get them to just think about it.
Yeah, the brain activity is still there. It's just that they can't send the
Physically carry
signal
it out.
down the
Yeah,
spinal cord because it's
exactly.
broken.
Okay,
Yeah.
true.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, basically they'll get them to do it or think about it, and then Neuralink will detect these correlations, and it has like initial calibration period, which is what I briefly touched on a second ago. So basically, neural activity is recorded, like I said, while the user actually performs the task or literally just thinks about a task, like moving. They say like, think about moving your computer cursor. And then they use mathematical modeling to basically discover correlations between thoughts and desired actions. So basically, the system ends up becoming primed for a particular user. So it'll basically just
That's
like learn
actually
about
crazy.
what happens and all the electrical activity that goes on while you think about doing these different things, and then it learns that. And also, like, it's different for each user, because I don't really know why, but like when like Yaz thinks about moving a mouse with a cursor, it might be different to like how Taz thinks about it.
Yeah.
So it will basically learn how you think about it. So like, yeah, it will basically be like a personalized tip for you.
Oh my gosh, that's actually very, very strange. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the AI or this deep learning that we were learning about in season 1 is coming in handy because I'm
Yeah.
kind of getting it. So it's like dependent on how you respond to things. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're feeding into it what you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then it can like build up on that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that actually is mad.
Mm-hmm.
But weird, because if it's used for stuff to like help try and be helpful, it's not like it's programmed to just do one thing then. So for example, what I'm thinking is like, if you needed it for like help in terms of, say, like a therapy thing, if you're suffering from, say, like PTSD or something, and
Mm-hmm.
you would want it to like change your, I'm going to say brain chemistry because I just don't really understand the
Mm-hmm.
actual terms of it, but like it's still basing it off of your own experiences or like how your brain works, rather than like
Yeah.
a model that would suggest this is how it should work. Does that make
Yeah.
sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get you. But yeah, exactly.
And I guess, do they have any clinical trials that have actually done it? 'Cause who is just going to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm going to let a robot put this into my head And yeah, I don't know, like, does it exist? Have people actually had a robot put it into their head?
Yeah, so clinical trials have started. So far, Neuralink has been demonstrated in 2 animal species and very recently 1 human. But all of its animal studies have been like quite controversial. So there was a pig called Gertrude, which I just love that name. She had a link.
Gertrude.
And in 2020, Neuralink released a video where it basically showed like real-time correlations between neural signals and Gertrude's snuffling activity. And basically that just demonstrated that the chip works, and they were basically able to like predict the position of Gertrude's limbs when she was walking on a treadmill. So that was pretty cool. Apparently this Gertrude had it in her skull for 2 months and she was fine. They can be taken out, by the way. You can have them removed. So she had hers taken out, I think. But yeah, she had it in for 2 months. She was all good. Then they went a step further, where they basically showed off a monkey called Pager, who, get this, had learned to play video games with a joystick, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
What, in their brain?
Yeah, so basically, they got him to like have the like the chip, and they got him to like play with the joystick, and they again use that calibration period to learn about all of its like electrical activity while it's like what it's doing with the joystick and all of that, and like how it's playing the game. Then they took the joystick away and it literally played the game with its mind. Isn't that crazy?
Oh.
So it was playing the game hands free.
But then I'm now thinking, this calibration period where it has to learn it, surely it has to know you moved up on the joystick, and then that's like corresponding to a certain thing. So would it have to connect to, say, the joystick? Or like if you're chopping an onion and you're like chopping it one way and you're holding the knife one way, like surely it would need to know how you're doing, like chopping the onion. Are you
Yeah, it does
slicing
that
it?
through your brain. Like it measures your brain activity to determine like where your hands are, what you're physically doing. Your brain is
Okay.
controlling every single movement. It's measuring that brain activity.
So it's not like it doesn't, because you're going up with your thumb.
Yeah, because remember,
like,
it's mainly for like paraplegic, so they actually can't perform these actions. They tell them, think about the actions, and this calibration period is going to learn about your electrical.
Yeah. So you're thinking.
Yeah, remember, like Taz said, it's not that your brain can't do these actions; it's that it can't send the signal to your muscles to perform these actions.
Yeah.
So like it's all still going on in your brain, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, they made a monkey play a game hands free.
No, that's actually crazy, because I'm just like visualizing like this inner human and someone just like sitting there, like hands crossed, just playing a like video game in their mind. Like that's actually mad. Like, yeah, that's mind blowing. But I just think sometimes, like I'm visualizing this like monkey having an electrode and stuff like that, all for like the purpose of making a video game. It just sounds a bit, I don't know, not very ethical. Like when you look at some like animal models, I don't know, I have like, they're like hacking the monkey's brain, right? So I don't know, it just doesn't sound very ethical.
Yeah, Neuralink's history with animal rights has been like seriously problematic. Like so many people basically think their animal trials were just really bad. And in 2022, an animal rights group actually filed a complaint against Neuralink over the treatment specifically of its monkeys, which had like veterinary records and necroscopy reports. So all of it is like actually publicly available. So like they have to basically publish like everything about their studies, and you can actually request the data. What's it called? Like public access something. And basically in the report, it was talking about how like 23 monkeys had basically experienced like extreme suffering as a result of inadequate animal care. And obviously the fact that it's like highly invasive, like they're literally putting implants in like monkey skulls, like that's not really okay, is it? Let's be honest. So yeah, they've had like a super problematic relationship with like animal rights and stuff. So that is definitely something to highlight.
Have we actually got an example of it being done in a person?
Yeah, so for anyone who's heard about Neuralink or follows it, you guys will know that in January this year, Elon Musk claimed Neuralink's first human patient. So they received one of the company's first human brain implant. The guy is called Noland, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, it's Noland Abau, I don't know how you pronounce that. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a 29-year-old man who unfortunately has been paralyzed for 8 years since a diving accident. So in January, X had a 9-minute live stream. And in this live stream, Noland basically uses... So before his diving accident, he said one of his most favorite things to do was to play chess. He loved playing chess. And on the live stream, he actually uses the cursor. So he moves the mouse cursor with his mind to play chess online. He also sent the first ever tweet from his brain, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because how would you decide, like, I'm going to send this tweet? Because imagine, like, you know how much, like, you overthink when you're trying to write out a tweet and then you, like, reread it and then reread it again, like, to then know, I want to write this out. And
That's
then
true,
backspace,
actually.
and then, do you know what I mean? Like, the amount of time you overthink in your mind, but you haven't actually typed it. You're just like, okay, reread that. Like, mine would be a mess, I reckon.
Well, I guess in time, enough of that calibration period, it would do all the real-time editing that you would normally do on your phone.
Yeah, clever.
But I also think as well, like, it's all like related to movement, isn't it? So perhaps it's like he's imagining himself type on a keyboard rather than he's imagining like he's thinking of the sentence. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be like real time backspace. Yeah, wouldn't it though?
Yeah, like hello, HELLO. But then, like, in your mind, you'll be like, oh wait, maybe let me like type and say hey instead. You know, so yeah, it makes sense.
One of the things he did say though, that basically he said he's run into some issues with Neuralink, but he said he feels like it's massively improved his quality of life. So I know we were just saying, oh, they're not using it for good, he's just using it to show off, but I guess they have actually put it into someone who has been paralyzed for 8 years and it's improving his quality of life. I don't think he can walk again yet, or I don't know, but you know, he's playing chess again, which is something that he loved doing. But yeah, that is the story of Neuralink. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot about neural chips. I hope you enjoyed your little mini history lesson. And if anyone wants to read further about Neuralink, as always, we will put the links in the episode description.
Yeah, and after learning all that stuff about mind control, potentially, maybe this could be helpful for our listener who has written in to us about a dilemma.
This episode is brought to you by SciSpace.
Yeah, guys, SciSpace is your one-stop destination for all things research related.
Yep, it's the easiest way to find, understand, and learn any research paper.
But honestly, having access to millions of papers is useless if you don't actually understand them.
Which is why it is so useful that SciSpace has an AI tool that allows you to access a quick summary.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's actually so easy to use. You can search for any paper or upload a PDF to the website yourself, and then simply just use the chatbot to ask it any question that you want.
You can even ask it to explain the abstract in just 2 lines.
My favourite thing is that you can even get it to break down mathematical equations, which I need because we all know I'm not the best at math. And you can even ask it to break down complex figures.
Yeah, and when you're done, it even has an extra feature called related papers. So instead of wasting time looking for like the next relevant paper to read, SciSpace does it for you.
Yeah, true. And that makes conducting literature reviews so much easier as well.
Yeah, I think this is incredible and very, very helpful. So where can our listeners find SciSpace?
Yeah, so all you need to do is go to typeset.io, set up an account and get started.
And does it also have a Google Chrome extension too?
Yep, it does.
Yeah, and SciSpace have also very kindly given you guys not 1, but 2 codes.
Yeah, you can use SoCultured20 for 20% off our monthly subscription, or SoCultured40 for 40% off an annual subscription.
Thanks again to SciSpace for sponsoring this episode. The link to SciSpace will be available in today's episode description.
And now let's get back to today's episode.
But I'm worth it, 'cause I'll slip into your dreams tonight. Oh, so give me your all. Baby, I'll take it tomorrow. I'll stick like glue inside your mind.
I put a story out on my Instagram asking for some extra gossip because I was like, I want to hear some juicy gossip about like romance going on in the lab, because I am actually a gossip. Like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I'll openly say it. Like, I hear all the goss. Anyway, we got like someone actually wrote in and I was like, cool, this is kind of what I was hoping for. And so let me read the email out to you because it's a little bit long, but yeah, okay. So it says, I can't even speak. Okay. So it says, so cultured girlies, I have a bit of a dilemma and I'm not sure what to do. It's more of a relationship related problem, but I am in STEM, so I feel like it's relevant for this podcast. I'm currently doing my PhD in computer science at a university in the UK. I won't say which one because I don't want this to get back to me. Lol. So, where can I start? I'm now 1.5 years into my PhD, and about 6 months ago, I started getting close to one of the postdocs in our lab. Let's call him Gavin. To be fair, it started...
Sorry, can we make that our name now? I feel like I want a female name and I want a male name for all of us three. So I'm hereby claiming Gavin as the guy's name because that is hilarious.
Okay, so poor Gavin. Any Gavins out there, like, you're going to be our go-to. Okay, so the postdoc in our lab, let's call him Gavin. To be fair, it started really innocently because all I wanted was to get some help and feedback with a project that we were working on collaboratively. It was all just chill, and then we started talking more, and our lab go out for drinks every Friday. One Friday, we went out, and I had a few too many beers, and things got a bit flirty. Since then, we've been seeing each other more in and outside of work.
Ooh.
And well, now we are kind of sort of having a romantic relationship.
Kind of, sort of.
It sounds like, you don't know. Okay. It goes on to say, I love what we have. We have discussed what it is, and it's quite chill, as he will be leaving the department soon. Problems of academia, I guess. But we have spoken about how things could work if we do long distance. So, this all sounds great, right? Well, here's the dilemma. ... A new PhD student, let's call them Dave.
Can he just be Gavin number 2?
Shall we do it? Gavin number 2. Okay, so new PhD student. I'm sticking with Dave. We can't have two Gavins in this story.
Oh, damn it.
Recently joined our department. And from the moment we met, there was an undeniable spark between us. He is literally like my twin or my best mate. Like, we vibe so much, and I fancy him because he is fit, in capitals, FIT. So he's joined our
We need a
department.
level for the fitness. We need a level.
I know, they did not put, is it Pietro?
From 0 to Pietro, how fit is he?
So then it says, so he only joined our department a couple of months ago, but the more time I spend with him, the closer I am getting to him. We haven't done anything yet in that sense, but I feel like I'm starting to like him more than friends. He's been making comments that are obvious he is feeling this connection between us two. I'll be completely honest and say I don't shut these comments down because I do like the idea that there could be something between us. I'm not in a relationship with Gavin, the postdoc, so I don't really think it's cheating or anything, but like, what do I do? Should I see what happens with Dave or continue the route I'm on with Gavin? Obviously, Gavin will be moving soon, and it's almost like there'll be an end date to this thing, but even then, I don't know what could happen with me and Dave. I am completely stumped. I don't want to hurt either of them, but I also don't want to end things with Gavin. Am I the arsehole for allowing myself to get into this situation? I'm really not sure how to navigate it without causing drama or hurting anyone involved. I really need your advice on this because you girls make me laugh with these advice sections because they're so chill and actually funny. And maybe I need to laugh about this situation that I'm in.
Oh my God. I mean,
so
I have some advice, but like, do we want to be taking advice from me? I don't know.
I don't know. We do. What's your advice?
Well, like, this isn't advice, but I feel like maybe just ride it out with them both for a bit. I mean, Gavin's going soon anyway. So
see you later, Gavin.
So like
Hello,
maybe just
Dave.
enjoy Gavin while you can, and then sweeten Dave up. So then when Gavin's gone, you have a shoulder to cry on.
Best of both worlds. But then it did say in this email that they have discussed about how it could work long distance. So maybe they're thinking it could be like an actual.
Okay, but then I guess
it could go further.
All right, I'm gonna just say that if you're interested in Dave, then Gavin is not the one for you. Because if
True.
Gavin was the one for you, then you wouldn't be thinking about Dave in that way at all. So definitely don't do the long distance thing, because I feel like they're hard enough as it is.
True.
And then obviously I feel like, yeah, like I said, I don't think you like him as much as you think you do. So I think just go with Dave, actually. I'm changing my mind. Go with Dave.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same, because it's like, obviously you've allowed yourself to get into that situation, you've enjoyed the attention, and at the end of the day, Gavin is not going to be there, he's going to be gone. So you're going to be enjoying the attention of some other guy whilst Gavin is gone. And like you said, you didn't shut it down. So I just think like you don't like Gavin as much as you think you do if you're enjoying this attention from Dave. So yeah, sack off Gavin, unfortunately.
I don't know, because
what if Dave gives her the ick? What if you have to train Dave to like do a PCR or something, and it gives you the ick?
Then no, it says computer science, Liv.
Oh, what if Dave asks you how to write a for loop in Python, and then you have to teach him? That would give you the ick, and then you've lost Gavin.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds smart. So I'd be like, he sounds smart.
No.
Is that a basic function?
That is, yeah, you should know how to write. If you're doing a computer science degree, you should definitely know how to write a for loop in Python. So like, what if he gives her the ick? Or
true,
I don't know.
Or like, what if he's a bad kisser? Because they said that like they've not done anything, but they do fancy him because he's fit. So you go for the fitty. But the thing that I don't understand is like, it hasn't said when Gavin actually leaves. So
true,
Gavin could be in the lab. Like, if you're going to break it off, you still have to work collaboratively with your ex, like, relationship.
Yeah, but they're not really a thing. They're not really a thing. But you know when people say like, we're not really a thing, but are you really a thing? Like, how much are you not a thing? Because like, if you have to call it off and literally say to him like, oh yeah, we're not going to do this anymore, you're a thing, you know? So
yeah, but if they're discussing long distance, that's a thing. That's a thing.
You're a thing. Yeah,
that's like a relationship thing.
First of all, can we have a girl name? What's our girl name?
Beverly.
All right, Beverly. All right, I'm going to say that Beverly is a listener. Beverly, listen to me. You're a thing. Right, stop being in denial. You are a thing.
That's true. So then it's a breakup. Like, it's a full-on breakup, and it could cause tension within the workplace. Like, everyone else, but like, also, it's not stated like, does other people in your department know? Because then it's even more of a thing that now it's going to be like, ooh, Friday drinks are going to be awkward, or like,
because then Beverly's turning up with Dave. Beverly was with Gavin yesterday, and now she's with Dave.
So what do you think Beverly should do?
I'm still sticking with my gut. I'm like, you clearly don't like Gavin enough if you're enjoying the attention of another guy, and like he's going to be leaving anyway, and Dave is going to be sticking around. So like, I'm sorry, Gavin, and it's not your fault,
but
mate.
He was helping her. Do you think that's why? Sorry, Beverly, but maybe that's why you grew this attachment, because he was helping you with your project. So maybe that's actually like, and that's like kind of led you there.
That's big D energy. But if you've got to be training Dave to do stuff, that's Nick. Maybe something that could help Beverly a little bit is if like, did any of you guys fancy anyone in your labs? And like, how did you deal with that? Because I definitely didn't.
No, I've just got females. Like, there's literally no men in our lab.
Okay.
But wouldn't that be exciting? No, I'd probably work more, because I'd want to like go to work, see them, spend long hours at the lab. Look, I'd look cute. I would not go into work.
Yeah, that would be bare distracting though, because like you literally wouldn't get anything done because you'd just be because when you like someone, because I've definitely liked someone at work before, and then you just like get no work done. Not at my current job, just in case anyone from my current job is listening. I'm talking when I was younger, like 16, working in retail. Like I would definitely like hover about them, get no work done because I'd just spend all day like flirting with them. So maybe it wouldn't be a good thing. So actually, oh no, I'm not changing my mind again.
I literally used to work in Hollister, guys. I used to work in
Ooh,
Hollister. Do you know how
yeah.
hard that was?
You are a Hollister person, Taz. I can actually see you in Hollister.
Yeah, I could have wrote Taz's life before I knew anything about it. I could have wrote it. A stars, Hollister girl.
Am I that predictable? That's
I
actually
mean,
sad.
you're not predictable, but you're just you just give off Hollister vibes. You give off A star vibes. You know,
I'd say Taz gives off Fiat 500 vibes. Is that bad? Because you said I gave off Fiat 500.
Oh, Taz gives off Fiat 500. Yeah, for sure. You're so right.
Okay, so Taz, when you fancied,
I actually find that offensive. No offense, yes.
when you fancied someone at work, what did you do? Were you hovering? Did you keep spraying the spray so you smelt cute? Because I like that spray.
But it's so dark in Hollister. How do you know anyone's actually fit? Because like, imagine you see them on shift, you spend your whole shift flirting with them, and then you go outside and you're like, oh no.
Well, we have a break room,
Of
which
course.
is normal lighting, but yeah, it is so dark in there. You know, people used to come in with a
Oh my
head
God,
torch.
no.
I
on
would
their
have done
head.
that. My mum used to joke, like, I need my phone light, my phone torch. And I was like, Mum, you're such an old woman. And then, like, I got to age where I'm like, oh, I can't see in this shop.
That's embarrassing. Oh, do you know
Yeah.
what? Just imagine Dave wearing a head torch in Hollister, and you will get the ick, and you will decision made.
No, you mean Gavin. You're all team Dave, but now you're saying Dave's going to
I
be
don't
the
know. I
ick.
can't make up my mind.
I think you should just focus on your studies, to be honest. Don't even get in the love triangle. Do not end it with Gavin. I've changed. I'm changing. I'm going rogue. Do not speak to either of them. Keep it professional with Dave. Teach him what you've got to teach him and say goodbye to Gavin. And just date someone outside of the...
Oh, I actually, on that though, Gavin is a postdoc, so he could literally help you finish your PhD.
We're really not advising her at all. All we're doing is confusing the poor girl more.
If you were going to be horrible in the situation, you would like keep going with both of them, and you would use Gavin.
No, don't say
if you're going to be a horrible person, if you're being a horrible person. No, but I'm saying if you were going to be a horrible person, you don't want to be a horrible person, you would continue to see Gavin and Dave and like flirt with Dave, and you would use Gavin to help you finish your PhD. But that is
No, because they're not in a relationship.
So if you don't want to be a bad
they're
person,
not in a
don't do
relationship. So
that.
like, do you owe anyone anything?
But we've already established
They're a
that they're
thing,
a
but they may
thing.
not be like
They're
an
a thing.
exclusive thing. So
We've
actually,
established.
are you doing wrong if you entertain Dave and do your thing? No, I'm really giving mixed messages because I'm really confused now.
Beverly, you would be a horrible person if you did that, but you would gain a lot. I think that...
I don't think you can call one of our listeners a horrible person. Let them live their life.
It was like when people are like, you shouldn't do that, winking, like, that's what I'm doing. You would be a horrible person, but like, I'm winking, you should do that. But also you shouldn't, because that would make you a horrible person. I think that we should leave this.
This is so mixed.
Listen what I'm about to say. I think we should leave this to our listeners. So let's put a poll on today's episode. Who should she pick?
Idea.
Gavin, Dave, or no one? We want everyone to go and cast their votes.
Or both.
Now.
We need both as an option.
Yeah, so everyone, please.
We will do that.
And Beverly, I would just like to apologise on the behalf of the So Cultured podcast for not giving you a straightforward answer. Every single one of us gave you about 3 messages, but please visit the poll on Spotify to find your final answer.
Perfect. And thank you for writing in. Hopefully you figure it out based on the poll.
If you're a nice person, you would just let Gavin go.
Yeah. Let him sail away in the distance to his new position.
Good luck, Gavin.
Well, that's a wrap on episode 4, season 2 of the So Cultured podcast. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed today's episode, to subscribe and to rate us on wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for tuning in, and see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the So Cultured podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Make sure you listen in next week for more science and tech updates and the hottest laboraTEA.
You can stay up to date with us in between episodes by following us on Instagram and X at So Cultured Podcast.
See you back here, same time next week.